This week's parasha presents a very big philosophical and theological challenge. And the challenge is as follows. We know that the brothers sold Yosef, and as a result of selling Yosef, he went to Mitzrayim, and as a result of him going down to Egypt, everybody went to Egypt, and as a result of that we were enslaved, and it was a chain reaction all because, guess what? Little Joseph had a dream. But as the Gemara says, Ini? Really? Is it so? Didn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu already told Avraham Avinu that your descendants are going to be slaves in Egypt for 400 years? So wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's the problem here? How could the Shvatim ever be punished for what they had done? Wasn't that already predetermined that they're going to go to Egypt? In other words, what I'm trying to present to you here is the paradox of free choice. Do we have a free choice or we don't have a free choice? It was already determined. Kadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu that your descendants are not going to be in this country. They're going to be in Egypt for 400 years. So why anybody was punished? And why is it that HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to make all these crazy scenarios? Just send them to Egypt and that's it. Why he has to go through dreams? I mean, it's such an indirect way. They have to say, give Yosef a dream. And if you look into it further, that's like no end. There's no end to this thing. Why? Because then you say, wait a minute. But that has to do with Yaakov and marrying Leah. And why did he marry Leah and Rachel? Because he was running away from Esav. Why he was running away from Esav? So basically, one can look into it all the way from the moment that Avraham Avinu was told that his offsprings are going to be slaves in Egypt. Basically, everything was evolved for that. So, again, where's the free choice? So there is free choice or there isn't free choice? What do you say?
There is.
There is. How is it possible? There isn't. I show you right away there's no free choice. There's no free choice. There is no free choice. How can you tell me there is free choice? What do you think?
I think our free choice plays into our destiny.
A free choice? What are you, Buddhist?
Free choice.
Free choice plays into destiny?
We have a certain destiny.
We have a destiny, so we have no free choice.
But we have the choice in that destiny.
No, we don't have choice within that destiny. That's a very Buddhist kind of a thing, with the concept of karma, or Hindu, karma. There's no such thing as karma. Let me tell you, if somebody's destiny was to become to die as a Mechalel Shabbat, so why should he get punished for that? That was his that was his karma. Where's the tests if you have karma?
There's always a free choice.
There's always a free choice. So how can you explain the paradox in which we experience in this week's parasha? After all, it is a paradox. The thing is like this. We forget, when we deal with this, we forget what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu, because for us it's already over. It's like, we don't see the connection between one and the other. So for us it's natural. But how come you never ask the question, excuse me, that's not true. That was already determined.
Well, we could say that he didn't have to be sold. He could have just come from the time of the famine, since the brothers already came at that point.
So now what?
So therefore they could have ended up in Egypt.
So ultimately what you're saying to me, I don't have a free choice in my life. I don't have a free choice. I mean, any way you look at it, there's no such thing as free choice. And after all, Judaism is all built about free choice. The whole inyan, the whole issue of reward and punishment is based on free choice. So if, for example, I'll go now to Moshe, I'll punch him in the face, right? I mean, and I'll knock a tooth out. So I have to pay him, right? Excuse me, no. That was already predetermined. He probably deserved to have his tooth knocked out. And if you chaz v'shalom kill somebody, says no, he was probably meant to be killed, so therefore why you get punished? If you take a gun and you kill someone, do you get punished or you don't get punished? You get punished. Why you get punished? It was his destiny to die. So we don't have free choice, right? All right, Shabbat Shalom, goodbye, let's go home. Okay, that's it, it's finished. I mean, that's what everybody, believe it or not, everybody would like to have a conclusion that we don't have a free choice, because like this it removes us completely from any form of responsibility for our actions. There's no free choice, it was predetermined. I'm sorry, I'm not responsible. Yeah, I was born into this family. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do about it. I was born to be this, I was born to do that. I was this and I was that. So first of all, there are a few ways to explain it. Like any journey in life, there's point A and there's point B. There is a starting point and there's an ending point. You don't go on a journey and you don't end it. There is an end point. And that's the journey that we take throughout our lives. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does know, and everything that we do has a choice. It's almost like a binary code, like 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, Go right, go left, go right, go left. You can't go up, go right or left. And if it's up, it's going to be down. So, everything that we do has a choice. And everything that we do will create a chain reaction of events, that would roll out and manifest itself in the result at the end. Everything. If for example, when my friend called me, when I lived twice, how do you feel? Okay, sit over there. You awake? Good. So when my friend called me in Israel to go out, and as a result of that, I met my wife for 20 whatever, I don't know how many years already, 28 years. I had a choice. I could say to them, no, I don't want to. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep, or I want to, I don't know, whatever. And as a result of that, the world the way we know it now, I wouldn't be here. My kids would not be born, and who knows where would I be, and if I would be alive altogether, who knows? So there was a choice to make, and we made the choice. But then you tell me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows everything. Now, I forgot which bright light said that, but it's a famous example about the way we view things and we look at things. If I put a cat in a box, and I put poison in it, and I close the box, is the cat dead or alive?
Both.
It's impossible. You're right, both. It's impossible.
Schrodinger's cat.
Huh?
Schrodinger.
Yeah, Schrodinger, yes, that's right. The cradle's cat's in a cradle and the silver spoon, right? That's the most stupid argument, which of course professors in college always like to bring. Like this, they burn about 45 minutes of classroom discussions. They don't have to prepare. They bring those paradox, and everybody, all those doofus students, are going into like a rampage of intellectual masturbation, and then that's it. Okay, professor goes home. Phew, 1 day less to teach. Well, by us it doesn't work like this. In Judaism, it doesn't work like that. First of all, the cat is both dead or alive. There is a chazakah. We work by chazakah. I put the cat in, right? Until that point he was alive, I don't have any reason to believe that he will die. So as far as I'm concerned, since I put the cat alive there, so he's alive. But what happened if I open it and he's dead? Okay, so he died. So I do it again. Now wait a kid, alive or dead?
We don't know.
I do know he's alive until I open it. Now he's dead. Okay. I do it again. Is the cat alive or dead? Alive. I open it, it's dead. Okay, now I did it 3 times. I have a chazakah. I have a chazakah that every time I put a cat with poison inside the box and close it, the cat dies. However, I do know that the cat does not die immediately. Right? Like any other experiment, you'll have to open it after 5 minutes, you have to open it after 3 days, and so on and so on, until you get a conclusion. He says, okay, most likely, after a day in the box with poison that he would eat, most likely the cat would die. And there's a chazakah. And that's how we deal with people who became, or the husband disappearing. It depends if he disappeared, releasing the woman when she becomes anchored, aguna. If he fell into Maim sheyesh lahem sof, Maim she'en lahem sof, and so on and so forth. That's how we deal. So for us, it's not a problem. There's no such thing as alternate universes. There's no such thing a universe in which right now I'm married to my wife, but in an alternate universe I'm married to, I don't know who, somebody else, and in the other alternate universe I'm married to Shaniqua, and there's no such thing. This is it. Because I am here, and this is it. So, but how does it exist? The HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows the result of every action. If I, for example, would not have gone out with my wife that day, and the result of that, after 3 days we were married. So if I would say no, what would have happened? The HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what would happen. How does it know? Because we are limited within the realm of our 4 senses. I mean, our four dimensions. HaKadosh Baruch Hu exists beyond that, in the dimensions that we can't even comprehend, because it's above our abilities to understand that. The result would exist almost like a mathematical equation, right? Or like a program that I write in a computer, right? If you take a computer program, right? So you make those little squares, right? If I press enter, it goes down from here, and then this square. If I press this button, something will go from the computer, and then I'll create another one. If I didn't, so there's a default, go down to here, like a flow chart. So that exists. That's how it works. And I know when I write the program, when I'm the programmer, I can tell you exactly, without you pressing the button, what will happen as a result of every one of the actions that you'll do. Because I wrote the program. I know that if you press D, so it's going to start calculating something else. And if you press F, it will do something else. And if you press F1, it will close the screen. And if you press delete, control, whatever, it's going to do this. And I will tell you all the possible options and all the configurations that are possible for any kind of a thing, based on, of course, on how complicated my program is. I would do it, and I can tell you. Those things did not exist yet, but the result of them does exist, if you would choose to do that. Right? If you would choose to accept this mission, right? It's like a mission impossible. And you choose to go on that path, and therefore the results, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows the results, and so on and so forth. I mean, if you put complex ideas like this in terms in which and you could relate to, you could find out a lot about how things work. And a computer program, I think, is the best example to understand how those things work. Yes, to go from point A, which I was born, to point B, which I would die, that's the point A and point B. But there are many ways to go about. I can go from point A to W to C to Z to Y to X to here to that, and so on and so forth.
Sorry, sir. 1 second. Light. Microphone.
Okay? And so on and so forth. I can do all these things. But the end result of everything is what will be that I will have to go to B. You can go anywhere in the world, do anything you want. The end result is already known. You will die. That's already given. What you will do in between is up to you. However, the options of how things will happen already known. If I, instead of becoming a rabbi sitting here, I'll become a criminal, the result will be I will sit in jail. You don't need to be such a scientist to figure that out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu, your people are going to go to Mitzrayim, they're going to be in this for 400 years. And you're right. Nothing that happens in the world does not happen without the permission and the reshut of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to do so. I'll give you an example. Let's say the Jews don't behave. So they have the Grand Assembly in heaven, and they debate, say, okay, the Jews are not behaving. They need to be punished. Who wants to punish them? Now, all the angels in charge of all the nations in the world are sitting there. I don't know, the guy says, me, I will. Well, we will. We'll do the job. Right? Okay. So the permission was given to you. The permission was given to you to do what you need to do. So-called, let's call it to oppress the Jews. Now, what could it be oppressing the Jews? Could be oppressing the Jews, for example, chas v'shalom, to kill the Jews. It could oppress the Jews, chas v'shalom, could be not to allow them to learn Torah. To oppress the Jews could be, for example, let's say, not to allow them shchita. To oppress the Jews will be chas v'shalom, to tell them you have to attend class on your holidays, and so on and so forth and so on and so forth. You're not allowed to form Beit Din and to beat up people. Right? That's also a form of oppression. I'm limited with my religious freedom. How are you going to execute that heavenly decree is up to you. You volunteer for it. That's up to you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you time. What you're going to do with your time is your problem. You will have to give an account later on for what you've done. And so with the nations, Latid Lavo, right? A person brings all, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a person should know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings all the nations, all the goyim. And he brings, and the Midrash tells us, he'll bring the Geirim, all the converts, all the true converts. We'll put them in one place, and all the other nations will put the other side and says, why could you be like them? You had a chance to become a Jew. Why didn't you become a Jew? Why couldn't you become a Ger? So why are you going to tell them, I want to be a righteous goy? Instead of being a righteous goy, why can't you be a righteous Jew? The Midrash says that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take all the nations in the world and says, listen, all of you to a certain extent oppress my people. Now why did you do that in that way? So everything is known. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew the people had a choice to react. For example, comes Yosef, right? I have my dream. I had a dream in which my father and my mother will bow down for me, and all of this, and so on and so forth. So the brothers got annoyed. Say, hey, yeah. What do you mean you had a dream? Get over here, you punk. Let's put you in a pen. Because it's Yosef, boy, a little disturbed. Chef, come, Habibi, they give you some arak, smoke a joint, relax, it's okay. Al tidag, it's going to be beseder. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like he did to the Avot, can bring a little bit of famine, like he did to all of them, and then we'll go Mitzrayim. They didn't need Yosef there, so you tell me for that, so there will be another way for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make it out. Yes, so now you see why did Yosef had to go to Mitzrayim to be able to give HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if he needs it, that will happen. You need to understand that there is someone or something that controls this world. And our biggest problem is to be able to accept that. And we think that we are masters to our own destiny. Yes, to a certain extent. However, you cannot extend your lifespan in 1 second once the sentence was given to take you out of here. And the problem with free choice is not a problem that we try to really sincerely understand free choice. The problem is the problem we have with God himself. We don't want God. We don't want anybody. We do it out of fear. But we don't want anybody. And we think that we create the world, whether it's global warming or to anything else, or to stem cell, or to cloning, or to who knows what. We are the masters. That's a rejection of God from our lives. We don't have a problem with free choice, because here I explained it to you. If let's say Chas v'Shalom, let's say Moshe Chas v'Shalom needs to be punished now, right? So let's say, and I was supposed to deliver the punishment to him. So I could say, Moshe, why did you do that? Why did this? Why? Give him Musa, give him Tochecha. And he would say, you're right, I'm sorry, Chatanu, I'm sorry, I'll fix my ways. Or I could just go to him and give him punishment. And I give him a punch right into the nose, break his nose, go like this, he'll be in bed, like this, But then I will be guilty. Why? Because to excess in such a way that it's not derech Torah, that's not acceptable. And for that you get punished. You are not the judge, the hangman, and the court, and the jury, and everything else. Even if you were chosen to deliver. And if I was chosen to give you musar, I give you musar. I can make you suffer in a different way, beat you up. But of course, how do I know what to do? I go b'derech HaTorah. I know what's the derech HaTorah. Darkei darkei Noam v'chol netivotei shalom. I go b'derech HaTorah. And don't think that it's a new phenomena in terms of what the people say, and paradox, and so on and so forth. And that's why the Rambam has the best answer for that. And basically, let's summarize that, and we see what the Rambam is saying about karma and free choice and so on and so forth. And there's nobody like the Rambam for that. Shema Tomar, you might say, V'alo HaKadosh Baruch Hu yodea kol sheyeh kodem sheyeh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows everything that will happen before it happens. Yeda, you should know, shezeh tzaddik or rasha, or lo, the person who is going to be, if this person is going to be a tzaddik, or person is going to be a rasha, ואם ידע שיהיה צדיק, אי אפשר שלא יהיה צדיק. And if the person is going to, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that he's going to be a tzaddik, it's impossible for him not to be a tzaddik. So therefore, where in the world is free choice? The same thing about the rasha. Da, you should know, שתשובה שאלה זאת ארוכה מארץ מידה ורחבה מן הים. You should know that this answer is greater for you to comprehend. Is wider than the earth itself, and is deeper than all the oceans. וכמה איגרים גדולים והררים רמים תלויים בה, אבל צריך אתה לידע ולהבין בדבר זה שאני אומר. There's a lot of very important concepts that are dependent on that point, and you should understand very carefully what I'm telling you. כבר ביארנו בפרק שני, we already explained the second chapter, מהלכות יסודי התורה, the הקדוש ברוך הוא does not know בדעה שהיא חוץ ממנו כבני אדם. הקדוש ברוך הוא, when we say הקדוש ברוך הוא knows, his knowing is not the way humans know. Okay, the way הקדוש ברוך הוא interacts and so-called his experience is quite different than the way we are. We think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu feels the way we feel and knows things the way we know it, and that is absolutely wrong. Okay, and he says like this. He says, because a person, and that's something interesting, a person, how many opinions do you have about anything? How much can you argue one point over the other? I don't know. Let's say, Shabbat Shalom Motek. Let's say, for example, same-sex marriage, right? You can argue this way, you can argue the other way, you can argue this way, you can argue the other way, you can argue for and against, and so, and yay and nay, and on. Depends who is paying you, depends who is around you, right? If you're, and so on and so forth, right? If there's going to be a nice girls around you, you can argue for it, because you have an interest, and so on and so forth. But that's not called knowing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Echad is one, Da'ato Echad. We are an entity that we have a father and we have a mother, and they have fathers and mothers. So as much as ancestors we have, this is how much our mind is fragmented. Plus the media, labriut, and everything else that we have. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't happen like this. Da'ato echad ve'hu echad. and it says, וכשם שאין כוח ואין דעתו של האדם יכול להשיג דבר זה על בוריו. And no person can understand and comprehend that concept totally. It's impossible for a person to understand even that concept. וכשם שאין כוח באדם, as much as there's no power in man or ability להשיג ולמצוא אמיתות הבורא, to really understand what is and who is God altogether, right? שנאמר, כי לא יראני האדם וחי, a person cannot see me and be alive. כך, this is the way, אין כוח באדם, it is impossible for a human להשיג ולמצוא דעתו של הבורא, to understand how Kadosh Baruch Hu thinks and how he operates. It's impossible. והוא שהנביא אומר, כי לא מחשבותיי מחשבותכם, as the prophet says, my thoughts are not like your thoughts, ולא דרככם דרכי, and your ways are not my way, נאום השם, so said God. וכיוון שכן, and since that, אין בנו כוח לידע, אך ידע הקדוש ברוך הוא כל הבוראים והמעשיהם. Since we are limited, it is impossible for us to know how does HaKadosh Baruch Hu can understand not only what everybody, and know what everybody does, what everybody thinks, and not only humans, every part of creation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what happened with the neutrinos, the small particles of the atoms, to that level. How is this possible? There are endless amount of not atoms, neutrinos. You know what neutrinos are? These are those little particles that are so tiny that go like 1 billion in a second throughout your body, because your body is basically like a sift. You think you're solid, you're not. Because between the atoms that make your body, there's space. So if you look at yourself from an atomic structure, you're not solid. You're like a sift. There are holes all over you. And then everything, gray matters and everything goes through you. The neutrinos. Very interesting stuff. And it says, אבל נדע, but we should know, בלא ספק, without a doubt, שמעשה האדם ביד האדם, that your actions are in your hand. And therefore, there's no such thing as personality would determine your fate and so on. So your actions, your fate. You have a choice on everything you do. There's nothing that is predetermined, predisposition or anything. There's no such thing as karma. There's no such thing, I was born to that. I'm a white man trapped in a black man's body. I'm a man trapped in a woman's body. And all kind of garbage that people say nowadays. No such thing. The choice is in your hand of what to do. You're the master of your own world. You're the master of your own life. Do not blame anybody else for what happened or is caused to you, for what you did to yourself and the fact that this, listen, I was abused when I was a child and so on and so forth. You have a choice. You have a choice. And if it's up to a point that you don't have a choice and you're acting so therefore, we all agree that there's something psychologically wrong with you, and you have a din of a shoteh, so therefore, and there is enough kamina to that as well. But nobody wants to be labeled as a shoteh. And he goes, שכל בלי ספק שמעשה אדם ביד האדם, ואין הקדוש ברוך הוא מושכו ולא גוזרה עליו לעשות כך ולא לעשות כך. הקדוש ברוך הוא does not determine nor decrees for you to do one thing over the other. You are the master. You decide. You decide how to react. You decide how to act. You decide what to do or what not to do. You have the choice. And it says, ולא מפני קבלת הדת בלבד נודע הדבר זה. Not only because our faith, our Judaism told us that, אלא בראיות ברורות מדברי חוכמה. It's good enough to be intelligent enough to think so, to realize that. You don't need religion. It's not a theological concept. It is a concept that exists at all level of intellect. If you are smart enough, you understand that. ומפני זה נאמר בנבואה שדנים את האדם על כל מעשיו כפי מעשיו, אם טוב או רע. You are being determined by your actions according to your actions, whether are good or bad. וזה העיקר שכל דברי הנבואה תלויים בו. And that is what prophecy is all about. If prophecy comes, how it's going to be executed, that's already up to you. It's already up to you. So, and believe it or not, again, that's my favorite part, if I may say such a thing. That's the 5th parak of Halachot Shuvah. It's my favorite part in the Rambam. If you want to understand Judaism, what is it all about, and not just like flea market type of Judaism, you learn this and you practice this parak, and you understand it, you're going to have a much better life and a much better interaction. Everything is already known, but nothing is determined. How it's going to be executed, if it's going to get, it's all in your hands. What's going to be with your life is determined by you. Because if not, you removed any kind of reward and punishment, whether in this world or in the other world. If you take free choice, you basically saying that the next world, the Olam Haba, does not exist for you. Because the whole concept of Olam Haba is built on reward and punishment, free choice. If you don't have that, you can't punish me. After all, I'm a captive. And that's something that you have to worry about, to maintain, and to explain to others. Do not fall into those ideas of karma and predetermined disposition and so on and so forth, or I was born into that, or this is my character. You are almost like God. You have the ability to change your own faith. You create your own world. And that is another explanation to explain B'Tselem Elokim Asa et Adam. He created man in the image of God. He gave men the ability to decide. Animals don't decide. Humans do. Humans have a free choice. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us that. And that's why we're going to look forward for Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.